Hi, welcome to Let's Get Social, where online connections turn into live conversations. Today we're coming to you live from the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce 2010 Expo. I'm sitting down with Jason Hawkins, host of Eating Connecticut. Jason, thanks for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. Jason, I'm a fan of the show, and I want you to tell us a little bit how you got from your film and television background to the front of the camera, the idea of Eating Connecticut, and the show's name, which is
that's a lot in one, but I'll try to give you the shortest explanation possible. Yeah, I started in the TV business originally, in my 20s as a producer and a director, and I had worked for different networks like HGTV, Food Network, TLC, Discovery Channel, those kinds of places. And as time went on, I had different people telling me, geez, you really should do stuff in front of the camera.
Sure.
And I was always like, nah, I don't know, it's not really my thing. It's not really for me. And as time went on, I slowly kind of got into it. People talked me into it. I started doing voiceovers. And again, it was really by accident. I was producing a show for Food Network on the Great American Beer Festival several years ago in Denver. And when we got the rough cut put together, which is sort of the first draft of the show, we sent it to the executive producer at the Food Network, and she said, "Who's your voiceover guy?" Because I had done the scratch track, a temporary voiceover track. And I said, "Oh, that's just me. We're going to get the real voiceover guy on, in a couple days." And she said, "No, just leave your voice on there. I think that works great."
So you talked your way right into that.
So I kind of talked my way into it, and so then I did that, and then they started calling me to do some other things. I started doing voiceovers for them, and then little commercials and local things. So that was the voiceover thing started, and then in I think it was 2001 or 2002, I went up to Boston, and I was doing a food show up there where I was producing, and the guy who was the host of the show said, "You really got a great personality, you should get in front of the camera." I said, "Well, I've heard this before, and not really my thing, but whatever, we'll talk about it."
Try it on.
So finally we came up with this idea called "Where the Heck is My Producer?" And I had to go around to different restaurants, and people had to guess where I was to win prizes. It was like Where's Waldo for food.
Where in the world's Matt Lauer.
Exactly. And people had to guess where I was, and they win prizes and stuff. And sure enough, the segment really took off, and the viewers liked it. And we got a lot of hits on the website because of it. We got a lot of good viewer feedback, and people started emailing in and saying, you really should do your own show.
So you started getting a little following.
So I started getting, it was weird. I started getting a little bit of a following, and then it got bigger, and then a little bit bigger, and then a little bit bigger. And in 2007, when my contract was up, I decided to come back to Connecticut, where I'm from. And this is another part of the story, is that for years I was in Boston, and I was hearing how nobody could compare to Boston or New York.
That's not true.
And I would come home on weekends, and I would go to restaurants, and I would go to places, and I go, there's every bit, as good restaurants here as there is in Boston.
Great restaurants.
And so that's when it really sort of hit me that I needed to do my own food show.
And that snowballed into Eating Connecticut.
And it snowballed into Eating Connecticut. We came and we met with a production company, and we ended up partnering up with them, and we made a pilot, which by the way New Haven was the first show we ever did.
Kudos to New Haven.
Exactly. Nice restaurants here, by the way.
Let's talk about, since I gave you such a multi-faceted question, I personally love the name Eating Connecticut. I think it's great. I like sort of the little, play on words. And I guess you have people that respond to it in both those two camps?
Yeah, it's funny. Some people really love the name, and then there are certain people who just everybody kind of likes the name, but some people make fun of me for it. Because I guess, I don't know, maybe there are certain connotations, I don't know. That wasn't why I named it that, but it seems to have stuck, and people remember it. And anytime
I'm in the camp that loves it. So.
Well, thank you. I just thought it was a little bit better than saying, Eating in Connecticut. It's kind of PBS. As usual. We're trying to avoid PBS as usual.
Right now, so there's a component to Eating Connecticut online, yes?
Well, we have a website that goes along with the show. We do trivia questions every week. We do kind of fun things where the viewers can participate in the show. They email in, we pick a winner every week, and then we give them a prize.
Yeah, and I think that's the little thing you see on the show, right? It comes the winner.
Yes, it's called the culinary quiz.
Culinary quiz.
Where every week I'll ask something like, where was the first Subway? Which, by the way, you should know. Do you know the answer?
Yeah, Bridgeport.
Very good.
Yes.
I'll send you a little turtle wax or something.
All right. So anyhow, you very recently just did the craft beer show.
On CPTV, yes.
CPTV. And that was going to breweries around Connecticut and tasting? And
yeah, it was very much in the style of Eating Connecticut. It was called the Craft Beer Show.
Cool.
And I went to different breweries around the state, met with the brewers, told the stories of the breweries. And the funnest part of that show was there's a place in Willimantic called the Willimantic Brewing Company. It was an old post office, and when I was there shooting, I found out that my great-great-grandfather worked as a mailman there back in like the 1920s or something like that.
Full circle.
So it kind of went back full circle.
Yeah.
And I was standing in the post office and we were shooting, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, you know, my mother, when my mother was a teenager, probably stood and got her stamps here, or my grandma, because they lived in Willimantic at the time.
I like that kind of
the old days.
Story, the family roots.
So I was in the middle of shooting that show, and I got a little choked up, you know. And
that's sweet.
You know, anytime we can tell stories, and anytime it hits me in the heart,
I think
that's a good thing.
I think that's great. So you're in between seasons
Yes.
on Eating Connecticut. So folks that are watching Jason today, how can they get in touch with you online or interact with you?
www.eatingct.com. We're also on Facebook, so you can friend us there, Eating CT.
Yeah, and I think I'm one of your friends there.
Getting new friends every day, and can never have too many friends on Facebook.
All right.
You know?
Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for sitting down. For Let's Get Social, I'm Chris Bartlett. I'll see you online.
Bon appetit.
Oh.